you guys just gonna look at each other?
That's what most Browns fans do when they're watching games. So this is Born Again Browns. What? Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. Jesus Christ.
A little rough start here.
Yeah. Well, this is every Browns
This
season
is- yeah,
for the
exactly.
past 5 to 7 years.
Anyway, getting back on track, this is Born Again Browns. I'm Garrett.
I'm Heather, Tyler.
And we're bringing you a weekly podcast here to talk about everything Cleveland Browns from the eyes of new fans.
Yeah, I used to be a big Seattle Seahawks fan, and I use the term "used to be" because I was really just a Cam Chancellor fan, and I still am, and hopefully he comes back. But I've decided to go wipe my slate clean completely and root for a team that is essentially an expansion team at this point. With how many picks they have, with how young their team is, it's almost like they're the minor league team of the NFL.
So it's part of like it's 1999 again.
Yeah.
And I used to be a Bears fan, and apparently picking 3 overall wasn't good enough for me. So I decided to cave with Tyler and swap teams and become a Browns fan.
We don't have tattoos yet, but I mean, obviously the Browns, when they go 500 next year, 8-8 all over my body, maybe a little
What
teardrops.
would it be like not to have a top 5 pick?
Well, considering this is probably like my second year being a fan of theirs, I don't know anything else. I would hope that we could trade out to get the top 5 picks, trade our best player, and just do the Browns thing that we can do, and just get rid of it. But let's talk a little bit about the news this week with the combine, with everything going on.
And now the news!
Wow, okay, thank you, production. So the combine has been going on. You watched it a little
I'll
bit.
wait out a little bit.
Yeah, and I've watched a little bit, and I can tell you something right away. Barkley, to me, is the best player by far. Like, there's no question in my mind that if we can maybe say we don't need him because we need a quarterback because we don't have a franchise quarterback, but I don't know how you don't take the best player. It's like fantasy football. Like, if you don't take the best player because you're going off of someone else's strategy, that's fine. But do you really think Darnold or Rosen or Allen, based on their workouts and stuff, are going to change and transform this team?
I don't necessarily disagree with that in Barkley. Not Barkley, but Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm thinking here. But my biggest thing is he's such a tremendous athlete, but he's a running back. And, what's the difference between getting a top flight running back in round 1? I mean, is everybody going to turn out to be Ezekiel Elliott, or are we going to have another Trent Richardson here?
Yeah.
Or do you draft a running back later in the round and address a secondary need? I mean, quarterback's an obvious need.
Yeah.
Quarterback's something that they've needed for years, but
Well, I still like Kaiser, and I think getting like a Band-Aid to carry through the quarterback position when you have the offensive line we have, when you have the defense is actually, in my opinion, going to be improved no matter how we cut it, because we're gonna pick up a free agent, we're gonna pick up somebody, but Fitzpatrick is going to be pretty legit. I'm pretty confident in him, but I'm looking at our draft picks. Just after watching the combine, looking at the draft picks, like, we could probably get Lamar Jackson, pick 33. And I know that doesn't solve a need, but I compare Lamar Jackson to Deshaun Watson. So if we picked up like A.J. McCarron, cheap contract, relatively cheap for a starting veteran quarterback now, he's career backup. We keep him in there for a year. Oh, he got hurt. Throw Lamar Jackson in. We just see what we get. It's sort of a crapshoot. We're the first pick. We're gonna know it's not a crapshoot. That's my worry. Is we picked up Josh Allen. Josh Allen to me is Ryan Leaf 2.0. He has a great arm. Played for a pretty terrible team. He blamed his receivers. He's like, if you were thrown to the same people I was thrown to, that's why. And he's a big dude, big hands. Like, it's prototypical to me.
I guess, that's my biggest concern, too, with the quarterbacks in this draft, is no one is really heads above everybody else. Everybody has knocks. Everybody has issues. And really, do we want to keep plugging, as the Browns, keep plugging the same peg into the same hole and expecting different results?
Well, if we could get Bridgewater, here's the other scenario in my head. Bridgewater's going to be cheap. He's obviously damaged goods. We know Kaiser is not ready to be the best. I mean, he's only 21 for Christ's sake, but he's not ready to be anything more than what he is, right? He's not Deshaun Watson. He didn't come out and play his first game and run a 60-yard scamper against the Patriots or against the Steelers. Or, you know what I mean? He didn't just wow anybody. He turned the ball over constantly. He couldn't read defenses well. At the end of the year, he started reading the defenses well, and then the Packers game blew my mind. Like, how do we lose that game? Like, no Aaron Rodgers, and we have a lead, and I'm like, oh, fuck, we're going to win. And we're still going to get the first pick overall. And then, coming down, what was it, overtime, first series in overtime, he throws a pick. And I'm like, okay, well, this is the same old 0-14 team that's been in all year. So.
And I think with Kizer, you also have to look at it. At what point have you rattled his confidence so much that he's just changed as a player? I think that's the bigger concern is, do I think he has the physical abilities? Yes. But mentally, it's what state is he currently in and what state is he going to be in next year, especially if you're talking about bringing in a free agent quarterback and drafting another quarterback. I mean, mentally, it's either going to push him or it's going to completely break him, if he's even on the roster at that point in time.
Yeah, and I think, we had Kevin Hogan on the roster this year, and the dude from Houston, I can't remember his name right now, that played one game, and
Kessler?
Yeah, Kessler, Cody Kessler. And, we had him and Kevin Hogan, so we didn't exactly have options to take Kizer out with. Hey, no. Kizer. And the game that it reminds me of is he went in, I think in the second quarter of a game, clearly he did not know his name. Came back out in the third quarter and played because that's how bad the backup and backup were to a backup that was on the field realistically. And, I'm not going to knock, I'm not in the position of firing people, but I don't know why Hugh Jackson was brought back. I have no idea personally. 1 in 31 in 2 seasons as a Browns coach. I don't know if he can even analyze talent at this point in time.
Well, but really that more falls on the GM. Yes and no, but I mean, you have to have the pieces around on your team to actually do something with. If you have a stockpile of just garbage, you're not going to get very far.
Yeah, and I mean, Sashi Brown was a piece of work, and he, we brought in John Dorsey for 4 games at the end of the season, and I mean, what's he going to do? Is he going to scrap everything and start over? I mean, we're already on 16. I'd say we're pretty much already at a scrap point. Like, we don't have much we can lose at this point, but one thing you could do to, I would say, erase the memory is erase the focal piece of that, which is Hugh Jackson. And every time, like, I don't personally mind him, but I didn't mind him when he punched a player in Oakland. But he's not like that anymore. He's like almost too passive. He's too, copacetic with, oh, we lost again, but our guys gave it their all. Like, okay, if I'm looking at the combine, I don't think any of those kids would want to go to a team where someone says, well, you gave it your all and we still suck.
The Mike Riley experience?
Yeah, to give you credence to Nebraska football. But it's Barkley, to me, you put him in, and it's a change immediately. I mean, like, we play Madden. We made a fictitious roster of 3 trades that would happen, and the Browns went from 0-16. We didn't even play it. We sent half the season. Mm-hmm. We were 0-16, and then we did the 3 trades, and all of a sudden we were number 1 in the AFC North, which is totally possible.
Well, and I think that's kind of bouncing around here, but I think in the next 3 years, the Browns are in a good position with the team as young as they are,
yeah,
and the teams around them in the AFC North going through the changes they're going to be going through. I mean, Big Ben's got 2 years left, maybe even that.
He's 1 injury away from never coming back, and
Flacco is such an elite quarterback that he's elite.
Yeah, but I mean, Flacco is obviously the most elite of the elite, and then you have, obviously Andy Dalton.
Yeah,
probably the best. So that's why I'm saying, if you picked A.J. McCarron and you threw those 4 players in a hat right now, mm-hmm, and you picked one out, the only one that would be even moderately better is Roethlisberger. But is he only better because he has Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell with him? Probably. He's not very accurate now. He throws a deep ball to Martavis Bryant. Half the time it's 20 feet over him or 10 feet short, because Martavis Bryant's an alien that can run a 440 and 6'5", 175 pounds. He's just a beast. And it's like, so we have Josh Gordon. We would say Josh Gordon's a known commodity.
Mm-hmm. And we're keeping Josh Gordon.
Yes. And we can keep him for super cheap for like 3 more years, which is unfortunate, but great for us. We take Josh Gordon. We have Coleman on the other side, who really is good. He just fights injuries. He's a smaller guy. He's a small guy. And then you have unknown, right? You could.
Well, I would say Njoku's got the physical talents to really develop into kind of your Travis Kelce type.
I just don't think he can block well enough to warrant. Like I was thinking the same thing. I honestly was like, okay, well, like at tight end we're good. We have DeValve on one side, who's a great blocking. He can also catch, which is sort of an interesting combination. But the reason why Gronkowski is the best is because he only comes out one offensive play in a game. He comes out when it's like, hey, we want to put 5 wide. And even then they're like, maybe we should put him out there because he's a polar bear running around trying to catch meat that's being tossed up. So is Njoku that? No, he's 21 years old too. He's super young, but he could definitely be that. I just don't know if he could be that where he plays 69 of 70 offensive snaps. Because I don't know if he played at Miami. Miami isn't exactly known for their great defensive blocking or offensive blocking tight ends, right? So they're offensive catching, running. He's super fast. He's super agile for someone that size. And I love Njoku. I wish over the next few years he really develops into like wanting to block. Because then you leave him out there 69 and 70 snaps on offense, you don't know what play is getting called. Now he's going out there, it's probably going to be a pass. Also, we're down 20. So it's probably going to be a pass again. But it's just one of those things where, I mean, we have the talent, and even an average quarterback, McCarron is average, and a phenomenal running back, that changes the dynamic completely. That changes. If a defense is going to load up the box to block Barkley, fine. Okay, Gordon, seam. Okay, Coleman, we're going to do an under route for you. Boom, drop it off, he goes. And then on defense, really our major struggles is we never got turnovers. So when Marcus Peters goes to the Rams, I'm like, damn, like that dude is a turnover machine. Maybe he has on-field and off-field issues, but that dude would get us the ball back probably once a game, either by himself or with the help of others, and that changes it completely. So, I mean, the overall takeaway from the combine for me was Barkley's a beast. Shaquem Griffin I liked as well. But I honestly believe, and this is not a knock to someone with a physical disability by any means, I honestly think if you can't grip with both hands in the NFL, because he doesn't have a hand, he doesn't play the prosthetic, if you can't grip and tear with both hands in the NFL, I don't know how effective your pass rush would be, and I don't know how effective your tackling of a running back, like someone, let's say Le'Veon Bell, who will stall, shift left and right. If you're just going to grab with your one hand, that might be very difficult. And yeah, you slow him down a little bit, but that was impressive. 20 reps at 225, one hand. It's like, I can't do any reps.
I wish him the best, and I really hope the team does take a chance on him, because I just think that motor and that drive, he'd be able to figure it out somewhere in some capacity on some team.
I could see him going to Seattle because his brother's already there. So Shaquille Griffin plays corner up there, and I could see him going there, and I could see Pete Carroll. I mean, the motivation on top of motivation is like just phenomenal. And I could see him also being a Patriot and winning the MVP. So, I don't know. Bill Belichick does wonders with everybody.
My biggest takeaway from the combine actually was Darnold not throwing.
No.
I know some people make a big deal out of it, some don't. For me, you're a quarterback. Throwing is what you do. Why not do it on the biggest stage of the world? Your biggest job interview, and you decide, I'm not going to do that part. That's what shocked me.
I never really looked at it that way, because he's going to have a pro day. They're all going to have pro days. Like, the combine to me is superficial. It's an artificial gauge to garner hype, because there's literally nothing until the 14th, right?
Yeah.
So there's these like pre-trades, like Alex Smith to the Redskins and so to the here. Like, there's all these pre-trades, but there's nothing really that's like mind-blowing. So the combine, like Darnold not throwing, yeah, I get it, but would it have mattered? It would have just dropped his stock probably. I mean, everyone knows he can throw a football. I don't think you get to be a college quarterback and be mentioned in the top 5 picks if they're like, you can't throw a football. We got to make sure you can throw a football, like these routes that we're pre-designing. And I think he'll be fine. I think Darnold, I mean, cement feet, so him and Rosen are sort of the same cement feet. And I really like Mayfield. I just don't think he's a good fit for us, unfortunately. Let's go over the free agency that's going to be coming up.
Okay.
We like to play a game here called...
Now let's play a game called This or That.
Well, usually
Or
not.
this.
Yeah, or that. So, what do we got here, producer? We don't got anything? We don't got any this or that or this?
I didn't write them down. You were going too fast.
Oh, okay. Well,
You
that's good.
talk about them amongst yourselves.
Okay,
Work in progress.
Let's
Work in
go.
progress.
Let's go over the quarterback.
Okay. Free agent quarterbacks.
Yeah, we're gonna pick 3. I just picked 3 at random, and they're very different. So the first one's is Cousins, Bridgewater, and McCarron. This, that, or this. We could take one of them. Which one would you take?
I would have to say, just simply from a value and the assumption that we're drafting a quarterback this spring,
Yeah.
I would say McCarron.
Yeah.
We've been linked to trades with McCarron before trying to get him. I think he's not a knock, but I mean he's a good game manager. Somebody who may not wow you with his stats and his arm, but he's also going to protect the football.
Yeah.
You put decent weapons around him, which we kind of have, or at least starting to get, and I think you could have a solid offense.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always been a Bridgewater fan. His injury obviously scared me. Cousins is too pricey for me. He also came out and said, like, I only want to play like 2 or 3 years of that plays. So, okay, we give you a 3-year, $100 million contract. It's not worth it to me.
I don't think Cousins is really worth the money.
He reminds me of a better, who was it? A better Andy Dalton. That's it. That's like all he is. He's just a better Andy Dalton. And if he was put in Cincinnati, Cincinnati would win a playoff game. I mean, they can't win a playoff game. So, if he was put in Cincinnati and had A.J. Green, they would win a game. He can throw a ball better than Dalton, but he can't win a big game. He's never won a big game. He's never had to play in a big game except once, and he lost it. Okay, so let's say we got McCarron. I would take McCarron as well. Bridgewater I like, but his injury scared me. So you got McCarron. Now we go to wide receiver. Marketplace for wide receivers. This, that. There's a lot of them. We got Watkins, who isn't going to get franchise tagged.
Yep.
We got Terrell Pryor, who will probably come back for like league minimum at this point. He had a terrible year. Allen Robinson, who could get franchise tagged in Jacksonville.
But also coming off injury.
Yeah, serious injury, ACL. Wide receivers need legs, unfortunately, to run. So, and then you got Landry, who just got franchise tagged officially, and so he assigned it now. Mm-hmm. And now it's pretty much up to Miami if they want to trade him and try to get something. So, who you got out of those 4?
That's a tough one. I'll work it kind of backwards here. I would stay away from Pryor.
Yeah.
I think if Pryor would have stayed in Cleveland and had a year like he did last year in Cleveland, I think you could probably chalk it more up to a quarterback issue than a wide receiver issue, and you'd give him that next year.
Yeah.
But if you look him playing in that Washington offense and just how terrible he did, I would just stay away from him.
It sort of looked like he was wearing boxing gloves to catch footballs. Like, it was very difficult to watch him play.
As much as I want to say Robinson, I would probably go Watkins for a couple reasons. One, I think you can get him at a decent value. You don't have to reach too much, and I'm afraid with Robinson or Landry, the cost is just going to be too much.
Yeah.
You also have Watkins when he started off in Buffalo, so he's used to playing in colder weather. Mm-hmm. So that's,
And he can do something that the other 2 wide receivers can't do, which is go to the outside, run as fast as you can, and beat everyone on the defense.
Yeah.
Watkins is my pick as well. He's only 24 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's only 24. Like, I think there's probably like a birth certificate, like Cuban issue, like in Little League World Series. But he's only 24 years old. I mean, he came out of Clemson, and he was just, I don't know. I like the dude. I draft him every year in our fantasy leagues. And every year I get sad. So, it works. It works sometimes, but when he does have good games, I mean, they're monster games. 185 yards, 6 catches, 2 touchdowns. Like, he just goes off.
But and with the wide receivers, then you are getting kind of a full house there. You've got Gordon, you've got Coleman if he can stay healthy, and you'd have this third guy, Watkins, in this scenario. Do you think there's enough balls to go around, basically? Do you think you can distribute enough to?
I mean, there's a lot of balls to go around, but I think Coleman will transition to slot.
Okay.
That's what I honestly think will have to happen. I think you have Gordon, who is my favorite Browns player, but you put Watkins there. Watkins isn't an every down player. He can't block. He definitely only has.
So don't put him and Njoku on the same side.
Hey, we're gonna run to the right. Oh, God damn it. Okay, audible. We need to switch protection, please. But it's like Watkins. We're down. They're out of those 4 receivers. I love Landry. I think Landry is a great receiver if I just need 4 yards every time. And if I need more than 4 yards, I don't know if I can trust Landry to go more than 4 yards. He averages like 8 yards a catch, which is crazy to me because I think there's probably a stat error there. But he would cost way too much. Miami would be like, I want a first-round pick.
Well, I think even a second. I mean, granted, we have 3 second-round picks, so in that scenario, is you're drafting a proven NFL talent for a second-round pick. But still, I've never been impressed with Landry.
I like him. I think he has the surest hands of all of them. I just don't think he's not a Swiss Army knife. Watkins isn't either, but Watkins fills the void of what we need right now. We don't need a great slot receiver, especially if we take a running back. Even if we don't take Barkley. Let's say we take, what's his name?
Sony Michel?
Yeah, Sony Michel. I love Sony Michel. I think he's going to be great. But then I'm looking at him like, well, then do we just have 2 Duke Johnsons now? Like, we don't have, and that's why Barkley to me is great. Because Barkley can play 3 downs, but we need to take a week, a couple weeks off with him or something. Something happens. We still have Duke Johnson. Duke Johnson was our offensive player of the year last year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then the last, this is a position in need. So this is probably our Achilles heel. We got defensive back. So this includes the safety here, but Kyle Fuller, Malcolm Butler, LaMarcus Joyner, Tremaine Johnson. And Joyner's probably going to get tagged. That's the inkling. That's why Watkins comes off. But, from purely a standpoint, I mean, Malcolm Butler will have a redemption story. I just never thought he was good. I know a lot of people were like, oh, he's pretty good. I like Kyle Fuller a lot. You obviously know him.
My biggest thing with Fuller being a former Bears fan is he's streaky.
Yeah.
He is. You look at, we got rid of Hayden last year, is bringing in basically Hayden 2.0.
But younger.
Younger, yes. But still, that's basically what you're getting is you're going to get some good out of him, but you're also going to get some bad.
Some really bad.
I really think the value has to be there to bring him in. I personally, on that list, Joyner's really the only one I see. No. You bring him in for the sole reason of he is going to make one side of the field go away.
Yeah. I really like Tremaine Johnson, and I think with our defensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator has worked with Joyner and Johnson before. So if we brought in Johnson and we have Jabril Peppers and we have Fitzpatrick, we have 3, I would feel confident in those 3 covering players. Peppers is always going to be the iffy one because he's such a weird size position matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Where like we played him middle linebacker for like a couple of plays this year. We played him like outside linebacker, like pass rusher. I'm like, I don't even know what this dude plays anymore.
I think, and that's why I think it kind of getting on subject here though. So if you bring in somebody like Joyner and then you draft Fitzpatrick, and then you have the ability now to say, okay, Fitzpatrick's also kind of a Swiss Army knife, but more in that secondary level.
Yeah.
You can almost have Fitzpatrick be your strong side, Joyner on the weak side, have Peppers play free safety, and just kind of be that jack of all trades wherever he needs to be.
7. I don't know. Our producer's monitoring something over there. I don't know. I think we have $100+ million of free agency room to work with here. And to me, I mean, that's a big number because, obviously that's a very large amount of money. But
most of the NFL.
Yeah, by a lot.
And we have how many? We have, let's see here.
We have 5 picks before the Texans even picked this year.
So we have 5 picks before round 3.
Yeah.
If for those of you who don't know when the Texans pick.
And that's why I think like Landry, I mean, if we gave up pick 63, so the end of the round 2, we gave that up to Miami for Landry, I wouldn't be terribly upset with that. I'd be okay, Coleman, stay healthy, please, because otherwise, because I'm pretty confident they're going to bring back Pryor. I think Pryor, I mean, he said he wants to come back. I'm pretty sure unless we just totally lowballed him, he'd be back. I mean, even then, I'm pretty sure he'll be back. I don't think, unfortunately, our 4th wide receiver will be anybody other than him.
Well, and that brings up an interesting thing. So, and it is something we'll cover next time, is just with this big load of picks, do we go out and trade for one of those positions we just talked about?
No.
Instead of signing somebody for agent, do we go out and find somebody who's willing to shop a good cornerback, kind of like the Rams did with David Peters, and just use that value we have in the draft to get a proven commodity? But I definitely think that's a deeper conversation for next time.
Yeah, it'd be great to contact Seattle and ask about Richardson after his injury. And then I'm just be like a Seattle Browns fan, pretty much.
I'm just going
Farther over. So,
How can I reach you guys? If I want to get a hold of you, where? How? Tell me more.
well, I live with you, but no, I don't anymore. Apparently. So, we have a Twitter. We obviously are on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be putting this up to YouTube and podcasting it.
Yep.
So,
We still have email.
Okay,
So-
and what are the handles for those things?
well, they don't have handles. They're not drawers. So we have
Twitter has a handle.
Well, sort of. I don't know, producer. You're getting a little executive.
So when this becomes a one-man show.
Yeah.
No. So we are Born Again Browns on Twitter. We are Born Again Browns on Twitch. And we are bornagainbrowns@gmail.com. So
I think we're just Born Browns on Twitter.
are we just Born Browns on
Yeah, I
Twitter?
think.
That's the one you set up.
Yeah,
so
it
way
just
to go.
auto-selected it, and it's gonna do much about it. But you can search Born Again Browns, and it will come up because that's like the name.
Mhm.
But the actual @ is Born Browns. And you feel free to send questions, tell us how cool we are, because I mean, obviously we're the coolest.
Well, it's also as we're looking at this as the eyes of new fans.
But yeah,
We like the outside opinion of other NFL fans. Is this something interesting to you guys? What do you want to know? Do you have a point that we've not thought of?
I mean, the way that I look at this show is we're fictitious GMs that have no right being in this role. But to be fair, the previous GM of the Browns had no right being the GM of the Browns.
No.
So, let's be fair. And I'm hoping John Dorsey listens to this, obviously, and takes everything we say and says, oh yeah, that all makes sense, and we'll do exactly what Tyler and Garrett say because we want to win. I mean, it works in Madden. That's a barometer for everything.
Yeah, but we still traded for Tom Brady and Gronk and didn't make the Super Bowl.
Cleveland Patriots. All right, guys. Well, it was good. It was fun.
We'll
Catch
see you
up.
again next week. We are broadcasting live on Twitch at 11 a.m. on Sundays here during the off season. That's 11 a.m. Central.
Yep.
Being in the Midwest here, that works best for us. Hopefully, we'll have a lot of good coverage coming up to the draft, and we'll talk to you guys later.
We also have a chapter for a fan club. So it's Morning in Browns. Just go look it up.
And then.
And then. No more Hendon! No more Hendon!